Hi, I'm CJ and this is my RC channel. Continuing on the hatch, I have glued on the nose. I've glued on the forward piece for the hatch that stays in place, and I have drilled the hole for my latch mechanism. And the way I did that, I started by taking a straight edge, putting it across here, so that's the level that this hatch is going to sit at, and used a pencil to scribe a line across there, and then I measured the distance between where this is going to attach to the surface of the wood to the center point on the hatch pin. And then I scribed another small line on using the vertical center line that's already on here from the laser engraving. So that gave me my point, and I drilled a hole through there, and then I inserted the hatch pin. I may end up trimming the length of this a little bit, and then I confirmed that I had measured everything properly. So that is perfectly flush. I don't think I could have gotten more accurate. So now I need to cut a slot in here for the hatch pin, and I'm going to put this tongue, attach that, and then I'm going to put a few small pieces of wood on the left and the right as guides to make sure, even with this pin here, to make sure that the canopy doesn't shift around. And then I can attach this permanently, and then I can begin shaping. So one of the things I also noticed is that because of the height of this, I may not need to add to this. I think let's take another look at that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to add a little piece of tubing to basically raise the latch pin about 1/8 of an inch, maybe 3/16. So no big deal. So I have this attached now, so now it's time to start shaping. And as you can see, all I need to do is pull back, lift up, hatch comes off. These two little blocks keep it from moving side to side. The pin does that technically by itself, but I wanted a little extra bracing, so all of that is not borne by the pin. I described how I drilled the hole. I made it deliberately a little bit low just to be on the safe side, so once I glued things in, I used a small rat tail file. It's good to have a variety of little files like these. They come in really handy. And so I used that to enlarge the hole vertically a little bit. So I have my tab that slides in place, and that snugs right in. Now I've got it just so that it doesn't snap in on its own. If you push down on the center of it, it will slide in on its own. Otherwise, you just give it a little bit of a nudge. It eases right in, and that is solid. And once I get a little layer of covering on this, that's going to be even more solid. So I may need to enlarge that a little bit down the road. But what I have is a very nice, tight, functioning hatch mechanism. And I think I've decided how I'm going to go with my servos. I've made this little servo mounting plate, and this anchors on top. So basically I just lay the two servos in here. Oh, I got a broken control arm there. I must have done that when I was pulling one of these out. Those are very delicate. Good thing I got a few spares. And so this anchors here to these three holes, a little cross brace, and since there's a little bit of space, because the servos are taller than these little mounting blocks, there'll be a little bit of a bowing. So I put a center screw in to tension that across the two servos, and that's going to make for a nice mounting system. So if I have a broken servo, if I have something like this come about, if I just need to make changes, I can unbolt and remove the servos. So once this is, once I'm ready for this step, I'm going to be just gluing that down. It's just a flat piece of thin ply, but you know, even though the ply is very thin and it has a decent amount of flexibility to it, once the servos are in place and the crossbar is screwed in place, these are really snug. I mean, I almost don't need the crossbar. These things are so tight. Basically what I did was just take some 1/4 inch stock, cut it to length, and then I used my new saw to cut slots for the servo tabs. And so this, let's see what this weighs, just out of curiosity. Okay. So 2.8 grams. Not a big deal. Let's see what the servos weigh, just for curiosity's sake. Yeah, these were the lighter servo at 435, but they are metal geared, excuse me. So, not a big weight penalty. I've done a lot of things to lighten out the tail, so, and I'm going to be using very light covering, so I will probably almost definitely need to add nose weight. So adding this little bit of structure here, a couple of extra grams there, 3 grams, not a big penalty. I don't think it's going to be a problem, and I'm going to have to add weight anyway. So if you guys want to glue your servos down as recommended, by all means do so. I don't see any problem with that. I just wanted the option to tinker with them or replace them if they burn out. Okay, the process continues. I have done a lot of shaping, as you can see. It's looking good. A little fiberglass there. So everything is looking nice. One of the last steps on the fuselage is to glue a little bit of fiberglass cloth in here. I used a 15-minute epoxy, laid it out, used one of these little bamboo sticks to slick the epoxy into the fabric, and then flipped it over and did the same thing on the other side, so that it was so it had penetrated fully, but I had squeegeed off any excess. Then I placed it in here. I was wearing a pair of nitrile gloves. You want to keep epoxy off of your skin as much as possible. Once I had it pretty much in place, I took a popsicle stick. The nice thing about the popsicle stick is it's right angles, except the tip, which is rounded, and so that made something that I could use to slick down this corner right here and make sure that I got a nice sharp 90-degree bend into that cloth. You want that cloth right up against the wood, and especially at that corner, because that's what you're trying to reinforce with this. You're trying to make sure that this part right here, which gets the most stress because of the tow hook, that these panels don't separate. So you only need one piece on each side, and you just get that down and glued in place, and you'll be in business. So like I said, I've done the shaping. This little mechanism here turned out quite nice. Anyway, everything looks good. I may shape a little more off of this, remove a little more material, maybe like right about this area. I'm not sure. I'm gonna think about it. I got time to take care of that, so it's not a hurry. Anyway, now it is time to begin building the outer sections of the wing. Two of them, they need to be identical, and then on to the center section. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please click like and please subscribe to my channel. If you click the bell icon, you'll receive notifications every time I launch a new video. Thank you for watching.